for the Eagles as Lane Johnson and DeVonta Smith return to practice. And I got to tell you, when you see these mock trades by the media put out there, most of the time they're absolutely ridiculous. But this one with Kevin Byard going to Philly may be the most realistic one I've ever seen. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. So we got some really great news happening for the Eagles right now as they take the practice field. Lane Johnson and DeVonta Smith both return to practice, as well as Julio Jones out there. That's a big, big deal for the Eagles this Sunday. And I got to tell you, most of these mock trades that we always discuss are always having the Eagles pay way too much for a player. But this Kevin Byard mock trade to Philly is the most realistic trade I've ever seen. Now, we're going to get into it in a second, but before we do that, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, the most throttled, pause, Eagles content creator in all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, I just want to thank you so much for all the support you give to me. It really means a lot. Just a quick reminder, I will be streaming tonight's Thursday night football game. It's the Jaguars versus the Saints. Remember, we have the Saints second round pick, so we want them to lose. We want them to lose, so we will be rooting for Doug Peterson tonight. I know the Phils are playing a little earlier. I'll have to be watching them at work. Hopefully they go up 3-0. Go Phils, no doubt about it. Now, the biggest concern, the two biggest concerns that I had going into this Sunday night's game with the Miami Dolphins was Lane Johnson's health and DeVonta Smith's health, okay? Because both of them were possibly going to miss this game. And guess what? It looks like they're both going to be a go. Lane Johnson is back at practice. We kind of knew yesterday that he was going to play. He kind of told Derek Gunn, hey, I'm going to play on Sunday, all right? DeVonta Smith, he had a hamstring injury that seemed to come out of nowhere, and you're like, what the hell is going on? We cannot afford to lose DeVonta Smith right now to a hamstring injury when we're playing the Miami Dolphins. And I got to tell you, a lot of people are saying, well, that's why they signed Julio Jones. It's DeVonta Smith. That's why they're signing Julio Jones. Had nothing to do with why they signed Julio Jones. They signed Julio Jones for two reasons that I can see. One, you need a third wide receiver. Quez Watkins is on the IR. Oz isn't it? And let me tell you, Julio Jones also might help them in the red zone. At least that's what they're thinking. So that's why they brought in Julio Jones. I have no idea what the guy has left. I really don't. But I'm rooting for him, okay? He looked like Chris Carter, big Chris Carter out there with number 80 on. You know what I'm saying? I dig it. But DeVonta Smith and Lane Johnson, very important, especially Lane Johnson, right? Perhaps the most important player on our team. Our record with him is ridiculous. And you're going to need this offensive line to play really well this week. You need Lane Johnson this week because in my opinion, and I'll do my preview prediction video for Miami tomorrow, but you have to run the ball. Okay, you have to run the ball. You have to eat up clock. You have to keep that offense off the field as much as you can. I mean, that's just the way it is. You can't afford them to go out there and have all these drives. Listen, there'll be big plays that be made for the Eagles, but I think you got to wear them out. I do. I think you got to win this game from the line of scrimmage. That's no secret. Most people know that. You got to run the ball. You got to eat up clock, keep their offense off the field, and then you're going to have to come up with a way to get consistent, sustained pressure on Tua, forcing him to get rid of the ball when he doesn't want to or hold the ball too long. Eagles got a tough game this week. And let me tell you, I think they've been trashed in the media this week also. Maybe not local media, although there's been some, but a lot of people are calling them frauds right now. And I think that the Eagles and Jalen Hurts can shut up a lot of people with a win this week. Cannot wait, because I think the Eagles are going to be ready to play. Let's put it that way. More on my preview prediction video tomorrow. All right, now, as I said earlier in this video, there was a mock trade proposed by PFF. Now, most of the time when I see these trades, they're really unrealistic, and it's always the Eagles giving up way too much for a player that's not worth it. But I think actually the proposal that they made for Kevin Byard, the safety, is actually not that bad. I still think it's a little too much, but it's not that bad at all. And remember, safety position is the number one position for the Eagles that they have to go and acquire. I really believe that. The safety position is a must. Now, what PFF suggested was, they suggested that the Eagles give up a 2025 third-round pick for the Titan safety Kevin Byard. Now, Kevin Byard, for those that don't know, he is 30 years old, so he's a little bit older. But he's got, I think, 30 solo tackles this year, 47 total. He's been pretty active, pretty good player, and I think the change of scenery for him would probably be a win-win for him and for the Eagles. Now, what makes Kevin Byard so attractive and very realistic, in my opinion, is his salary. He renegotiated his contract this past summer, and he's only $4 million against the cap. Now remember, you trade for him, that's prorated. So $4 million, that's nothing for the Eagles. They could do that in a second. So there's no worry about his contract hurting the Eagles or being a problem. He could come in right away. The Eagles could afford him and still have money and cap space to make another move if they need to. This may be the most realistic possibility over Budda Baker, over Justin Simmons. And of course, Jeremy Chin, he's hurt, so he'll be out for at least 6 games. So you can't even consider him a possibility. Kevin Byard, I think this would be a great pickup for the Eagles. It's funny, right? Like, it seems like we're just trying to pluck all these guys from the Tennessee Titans. You took A.J. Brown. Then we get Julio Jones signed. Now we're talking about Derrick Henry as a possibility. And oh, by the way, I think that is a realistic possibility. Maybe the Eagles haven't considered, but for what they need, they may think about it. But Kevin Byard, probably the most realistic because of what you would have to give up for him and because of his salary. Now, you could bring him in, I think, just 1 year, and you probably could let him walk at the end of the year because I think at that point, hopefully Sidney Brown will be ready to go. So I think this is actually, out of all the players and stuff we've talked about, it seems like this could be the most realistic situation. And here's the other thing. They said in this proposed trade a 2025 third-round pick. I think you could get him cheaper than that. I actually think you could get him cheaper than that. I think maybe 2025 fourth-round pick. Okay? I think you get it cheaper than that. They want to send their veterans to teams that have a chance to win. And listen, Tennessee, they ain't cutting it. They ain't going nowhere. So why not make a trade and get some assets? I think it would be really good. Now, Byard has said he would like to stay in Tennessee his whole career, but we'll see. When you got a chance to go to a team that is 5-1, I don't know if that's realistic. Okay, the way I see it, with the trade deadline coming in what, 2 weeks? I think the safety is the number one priority. You got to get yourself a safety. Now, many people think the Eagles need to go out and get a linebacker, and they need linebacker depth. Yeah, they probably could use a linebacker. They won't do it though. They're not going to go out and get a linebacker. So we're stuck with what we got, and I'm actually okay as long as those guys can stay healthy. I think they're doing a fine job. Okay, I think safety has to be the number one priority. You could always look for another corner. They do need corner help. And the other position is anything that helps their red zone, which could be a big physical back. So I think those are where they're going to look for it. Safety, any position that will help with their red zone, and then the outside one would be a pass rusher. The Eagles always will get pass rushers. They'll never stop getting pass rushers. The more pass rushers, the better. You rotate them in, keep them all fresh. That's what they like to do. So I always think the Eagles are going to be interested when it comes to a pass rusher. They did it last year with Robert Quinn. Could they do it again? Possibly. I mean, we got to face reality here, okay? The last of the Derek Barnett holdouts need to come reality. He's a bust. He's a flat-out bust. Okay, his best year was his rookie year. He helped us win a Super Bowl. Congratulations, thank you for that. But the rest of it, he's done absolutely nothing. He has done absolutely nothing. And I think it's time to take snaps away from him and let other guys get an opportunity. That's what the Eagles need to do. Whether they go out and trade somebody, whether they want to put Nolan Smith out there a little more, they need to do something because Derek Barnett just isn't cutting it. He isn't cutting it, and I would like to really move on from him and trade him. I mean, the guy didn't even want to play with us. He wanted to trade anyways. He said he's not getting enough snaps. Well, you don't even produce enough snaps you get. So, send him somewhere else. Package him and send him somewhere else. That's all I got to say. Reminder, we'll be streaming tonight, so come hang out with me. I wanted to get this video out before I stream. And, of course, Phil's play this afternoon. Go Phils. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's how we vision, baby. We're all just living in it. Such a big deal is being made about the Kelly Green this week. And, I absolutely love it. I've watched the Randall Cunningham stuff on the Eagles website about Kelly Green and all this honoring of the Kelly Green. It's truly great. But, to me, you have to keep these jerseys every year. You can run them one time, one in the black, 1 week with the black jerseys, 1 week with the Kelly Green. The Eagles are only doing the Kelly Green twice. You can do up to 3 times. So that tells me at some point they are going to do the black jerseys this year. I expect it at least one time. And you should have it. But, the Kelly Green looks better than the Midnight Green. It just does. And it's time to update the Midnight Green, update the away jersey, and give us something permanent. The Kelly Green has sold more than any alternate jersey in any other team in the NFL by a lot. Okay? People love the Kelly Green. And to me, it needs to come back permanent. It just does. I cannot wait to see the Eagles take the field this week with the Kelly Green. Denzel Washington out.